Yar, ahoy there me hearties, this is Silver Nightmare 888, and I'm bringing to you a video about talking about my favorite Marvel villain slash anti-hero or anti-hero, which is Venom. Specifically, mostly the version of Venom that's the host of known as Eddie Brock. But we will also talk about anti-Venom and the Flash Thompson version of the two of Agent Venom and Agent Anti-Venom. But right now, my favorite naturally is fully Venom himself, Venom in general, like Eddie Brock Venom, because he's the original, the OG, the starter Venom. I mean, obviously it was Spider-Man who gave him the powers of a spider, specifically because second human host is Spider-Man, but the first was Deadpool. But Venom is the coolest, especially how his design. I mean, like, he's got like razor sharp teeth, a prehensile tongue. He's really big with muscles, razor sharp claws, and he actually has a bite that's based off of his namesake, which is Venom. He's got a venomous bite. And he can shoot webbing that's way more stronger than Spider-Man's webbing, which is basically supposed to represent like 5 or 10 times stronger than steel, like actual spider webs, that actual spider silk. But if I remember correctly, because it's like a different tensile strength than the actual spider webs like Spider-Man, he's got it's basically, if I remember correctly, like 20 or 25 times stronger than steel. So it's way more stronger because it's the symbiote itself that creates the webbing. And then there's Agent Venom, which is Flash Thompson, Spider-Man or Peter Parker's notorious bully turned friend. He has more skills. He's actually better at wielding the symbiote than Eddie because he's more strategic. Like, he can actually use the symbiote to create tendrils with literal hands at the tips, so he can wield extra more guns, so he can be like a one-man arsenal, like a one-man militarized arsenal. So it's really, really cool. And then there is Anti-Venom, which is basically, he's got all the abilities of normal Venom, but he's actually a little bit more stronger because Venom has the ability to lift 11 tons or 22,000 pounds, while Anti-Venom has the ability to lift 70 tons, or if I remember correctly, that's about 140,000 pounds. So it's a lot more stronger well, at least in pounds and in tons, to be honest, because in pounds it's stronger. And compared to all the symbiotes, to me, he's the most powerful because of his ability to create antibodies to cure illnesses and diseases, including other symbiotes. He can destroy other symbiotes using his antibodies. So he's cool. And then there's 3 different versions of Anti-Venom. There's the Anti-Venom, which is Eddie Brock. There's the first version of Flash Thompson Anti-Venom, which is known as Anti-Venom 2. Then there's the third one, which is during the King in Black storyline, when the Codices version of Flash Thompson with the Anti-Venom symbiote on his body saved these symbiotes inside the hive mind, or the limbo hive mind, or whatever it was called in the comic series. And he basically saved them, and as a good thank you, they decided to fuse with his Anti-Venom symbiote and create the Anti-Venom symbiote dragon. So he actually has a draconic form and is a lot more powerful because just like the original Anti-Venom, he's got, like, even though it says, I think that Agent Anti-Venom has original Venom's strength feat of 11 tons, but I think, to me, just like the natural Anti-Venom, because it says on the fandom wiki page for Anti-Venom 3, it's all of Anti-Venom, the abilities is that of a symbiote dragon, and Anti-Venom 2. And Anti-Venom 2 says that all of that version's powers is that of the first anti-venom, which has the strength feat of 70 tons. So both versions of Agent Anti-Venom has 70 tons of strength. So they can lift, so that version of Anti-Venom can lift 140,000 pounds, just like normal Anti-Venom, the Eddie Brock Anti-Venom. And if you think about it, Anti-Venom is just like Carnage, so to speak, because he has the ability to, well, not really has the ability, but he is blood-based, just like Carnage. Except the difference is that Carnage is linked to red blood cells, giving him the ability of like a better regenerative capability and the ability to like create weapons and like rip them off and throw them as projectiles via red blood cells. But Anti-Venom is also a blood cell based symbiote, but he's white blood cells, which is actually the blood cells in the body that creates, well, believe it or not, antibodies to help cure illnesses within the person's body, within the human's body. So that means that Anti-Venom is just like Carnage, because they're both blood based, but Anti-Venom's a little bit more potent and stronger. I mean, heck, turns out it only takes a few hours for white blood cells to regenerate when it takes months or weeks for red blood cells to regenerate. And then we got, for Anti-Venom, we got since it's like basically remnants of the Venom symbiote fused with Eddie Brock's white blood cells. That mean and Venom, the original Venom, has like powerful, like a decent, well, like a healing factor on par with like Wolverine or Deadpool. And believe it or not, Wolverine's got the most powerful and potent healing factor. And Deadpool's is based off of Wolverine's, but the difference between Wolverine and Deadpool is that Wolverine's is living cells that regenerates, while it's the Wolverine style healing factor for Deadpool is linked to his dying cancer cells. So basically his living cells gets replaced with dying cells, while Wolverine gets living cells replaced with more living cells. So yeah, but anyways, that's besides the point. I'm not talking about, in this video, I'm not talking about Wolverine or Deadpool. I'm talking about Venom and Anti-Venom and Agent Venom and all the Venoms, all the versions of Venom. And now my favorite version of Venom with the Eddie Brock Venom had to be, believe it or not, God of Light Venom, or Cosmic Venom, or Captain Universe Venom. Because that version, it was the most powerful, because Eddie Brock was infused with the Enigma Force, which is one of the most powerful weapons / abilities in the Marvel comic book universe. And then he took the Enigma Force and combined it with Silver Surfer's surfboard that took on the form of a sword at the time, and Thor's hammer Mjolnir, two of the most powerful weapons in the Marvel comics also. Because what was it? What was the surfboard made from? Like cosmic energy, cosmic power. I forget what it's called, but it's what Galactus has. And Venom took that, and somehow he was worthy enough to wield Mjolnir, and he took it and merged it with the Enigma Force, turning it into, infusing it all together, combining his biomass with it to create a battle axe, where the head of the battle axe was made from the three weapons, Enigma Force, Mjolnir, and the surfboard. And then the handle was Venom's biomass, or basically his skin or flesh, or whatever you want to call it. The liquefied the symbiote itself was the Venom symbiote. Part of the Venom symbiote was the handle. And it was just cool. And that's how he took down the dark god of the symbiotes, or also known as the King in Black, Null. And then that's also how he became the King in Black, Eddie Brock, or Venom. But what I always thought is cool is that how with Agent Venom, how the Venom symbiote learned how to be in a physical form without being bonded to a host. Originally, he was just like a liquid that had like a head, like a somewhat of a head with sharp teeth and eyes, and that's about it. Now he actually can take on the form of a humanoid form, and later on, just like his son Sleeper, take on the form of an animal. While Sleeper took on the form once as like a wolf, his now animal form, he takes on the form of a house cat. And then Venom took on the form of a dog, or specifically my favorite and one of the most cutest ones, which is a bulldog, specifically a English bulldog, which is what the football team Georgia Bulldogs are based off of. Their mascot is basically an English bulldog. Yeah, it's an English bulldog, not a French bulldog, but it's an English bulldog because they're a little bit smaller and stronger. And that's what Venom turned into. Like, he shape-shifted his entire biomass. He took his physical form and used his shape-shifting ability to turn into a English bulldog. And his son Sleeper took on the form of a house cat. And the house cat was pretty cool too. I mean, Sleeper had just like his full-fledged symbiote form when he's bonded to a host, has four little red dot-like eyes. And so does his cat form, except his cat form is like on the side of his cheeks for the bottom ones, and then the main one where the normal eyes would be on a cat, that's the top one, the top eyes of Sleeper. And this is like the coolest symbiote. This is the most, no, scratch that. This is the most coolest and most awesomest character in the Marvel Universe. I mean, the thought of and hang on, plus, hold on, before I continue about the thought of one of the character, what I thought was cool is when DC Comics and Marvel Comics had a little collaboration where they combined their individual characters, like Superman and Batman and all of them of the DC Comics, and then like Spider-Man, Iron Man, Venom, and all of them of their of Marvel's comics book characters, and they had them come together in their own singular, newer collaborated comic of DC and Marvel Comics together. And Spider-Man meets Superman. They somewhat became friends, but never. He wanted to join the Justice League, and Batman said, "Nope, you're out. Go away." But Superman knew Spider-Man. Then Venom wanted to know where Superman was and was attacking a random girl, a random woman, and she kept saying, "I don't know where he's at. I don't know where he's at." And after that, Superman actually came to help her. And then Superman literally spoke Spider-Man's name and said that Venom reminds Superman of Spider-Man, which pissed off and angered Venom, and they got in a fight. And turns out a human being bonded to an alien symbiote, an alien life form with superhuman strength, speed, stamina, agility, durability, healing, and webbing, nearly killed and destroyed Superman. Literally the Man of Steel that only can die from kryptonite or magic. And Venom nearly destroyed him. So, yeah, Superman ain't that powerful if a human basically with another alien life form bonded to him can beat him. I mean, Batman was almost able to beat Superman, but there was a little bit kind of sorry for the Batman lovers out there, but he did cheat. He did cheat it in his fight against Superman, including in the movie Batman vs Superman. He did cheat because he used kryptonite-based weapons, just like Superman's arch nemesis Lex Luthor. He uses kryptonite-based weapons. to cheat to be able to beat Superman. So, and basically Venom didn't. He used brute force and his arsenal of his biomat of the symbiote itself as to be able to beat Superman. And the interesting thing is how he was about to destroy Superman. I mean, Superman survived because he got backup, I think, from either a bunch of military people or cops, or maybe I think it was the Justice League themselves, the rest of the Justice League, including Batman, I think. But if they didn't come, Superman would have literally been taken out of the comics permanently. Like, basically, he would have been dead. Like, he would have died because Venom literally suffocated, nearly suffocated Superman. That's how he was going to win. He beat him up, exhausting Superman, and then he started to suffocate him with the symbiote itself by going down the holes in his face, his mouth, his nose, his eye sockets, and his ears, going all the way through his entire body and on his face, down into his lungs, where he can't breathe. So Venom can take down the Man of Steel. And there is no other superhero or even other things like literally like Dragon Ball or something. Broly probably couldn't even take down Superman. I mean, Goku can't. I mean, if you've seen like the first original 2 death battles from Screw Attack or Death Battle, their first 2 death battles was about Superman versus Goku, and Goku lost against Superman. I mean, besides the Broly one versus Hulk, no other Saiyan based death battles the Saiyans always lost. Well, okay, Android 18 doesn't count as a Saiyan. She's just basically a cyborg. But that's besides the point. Back to the topic of Venom. Venom, I love him. He's awesome. He is awesome. So, Venom is my #1 favorite character in the Marvel Comics. I don't like Carnage as much as I like Venom. I mean, I don't like Carnage that much at all because Carnage is too psycho for me. I mean, he's basically a symbiote that is bonded to a host that's a serial killer. While Venom is basically just a symbiote bonded to a host that just has a hatred for Spider-Man. I mean, that's not that bad compared to Carnage. Carnage wants to just murder. Venom wants to murder, but to survive because of the phenethylamine ingredient that's in brain matter and chocolate and fungi. That's why he kills humans, other people, so he can eat their brains. And so he just needed to, but he only killed, the reason why he's an anti-hero or an anti-hero is because he only kills and eats the brains of bad people like criminals, thugs, robbers, such and so on and so forth. So, yeah. Anyways, I guess for now, that's all for now. So, yeah. As always, keep sailing me hearties, and I'll see you in the next video. Sail away! Yar!